they decided to play this map out. So, yeah, quite an unrehearsed one, but one that they're going to be happy to try and take a swing at. Shock 1-for-1. Zedko on the right-hand side, now locked in as Sin finds the trade, but a 3v3, Big, not going to divert their eyes.
No, they decide to still push straight in. They don't have any control over lobby, so that's going to be a bit of a backward thought, I would have to think. So pressing forward alleviates that pressure a little bit more. Zedko had no right to stand his ground and deliver a kill on such low HP. He will finally be bested by Sin. Still a minute on the clock as this has been lightning fast, and Beastick, now having a quick ponder and pierce towards the lobby side, finds nothing in return. So Big have the options, the luxuries. They're going back to ramp again. Beastick is in now prime position to rotate round the back and have them.
All about timing, all about the fights. Oscar, does he want to swing? Does he want to take that gamble? He does. It's the information. 2v2. Bombs crept towards site. Double doors swung open. Sin sticking the plant, and that's where the rotation comes in from Beastick.
It does, but he needs to connect on this one, or perhaps not. He's faked this one away, so Oscar gets the first point of contact, tickling the bomb. Draws Man2 out. The Polish player needs to try and deliver here, and it won't be happening. Oscar bodyguards the bomb defusal. And that will be Sinners taking first blood in this best of 3.
Yeah,
3 players stack on A site, maybe anticipating some run and gun shenanigans. But not forthcoming as of yet. Sin takes a little bit of chip damage from that grenade. Crimbo does have the angle covered. Was anticipating one and a second. They've both walked into Crimbo. And that Khalil will sing. And in doing so, Big have such a vast advantage now with so much time left on the clock.
Yeah, that's scary for Sinners, because conceding 2 here means resources spread thin. You mentioned a triple stack towards A, that now only becomes 1. One man to guard the entirety of ramp, and I guess B in that sense as well. Shock's lingering around ramp area itself, decides to push on in. I guess Sinners, you know, a sign of desperation, trying to get stuck in the info play, but you kind of need to do something here in the 3v5. Someone's got to make the move. Smoke in Zedko's face is just going to hurry this hut push up.
Able to maneuver now into the main side. Beastick is going to be under a lot of pressure, a lot of duress. That's just too much. He was caught in transition. There will be no quarter given, and Tabson gobbles him up. Head-to-head so far. 1 in the box of Tabson. Shock does at least put down a little bit of pain and suffering on Big towards the end of the round, but it's too little too late. This round has already been signed and delivered, and it will be the way of the German organization. Sinners have to go back and save this M4. And I doubt that Big are going to be charging it down too much, obviously. They've only just got themselves any kind of economy to speak of.
MR12, you get less rounds to try and create a platform for yourself to stand on.
Oh, Beastick's missed the drop. It's not at the cost of that much health, but did they hear the sound cue? Probably not with all the grenades firing off in the background, but they are going to check it anyway, of course. And Tabson devouring Beastick, who had no help at all. Nobody else was on heaven. Main was smoked off. He was basically left to fend off against himself against a pack of wolves. And it went about as you'd expect, and already they're darting back towards the CT spawn. It looks to me like they may be saving just instantly. And maybe we're getting a bit of a read, a couple of pictures here, Retro, as to why Sinners typically ban Nuke. Because it doesn't seem like they're on the same wavelength when it comes to these crossfires that you typically have classically on Nuke, especially on the CT side. Oscar may get one, but it's a bit of a consolation kill at best.
Yeah, I'm interested in... I want to know more about why Sinners did what they did in that round, because if I'm not mistaken, we started one in secret. I think it was, well, looking at the map, dumped towards A, but it's a distraction piece this time as Big take to outside. Smoke in the face of Zedko to try and give some cover. Nade behind. There's a little bit of extra damage, but it's Quirt's first blood, and he will receive more contact towards Squeaky, but it's Oscar from Double Door that's able to connect.
I'm surprised Oscar was given the chance of that second shot after the first one missed. And now Smoke down allows him to stay in position. Outspill the tease onto the A site, and it's Man2 that's leading the charge. And he now has full control over site. That information relayed to his teammates. And they can traverse the bomb across. All 3 of the CTs over rotated down onto the ramp. And now they're going to have to be coming through on the likes of Lobby. And they're going to be moving together as a united force. They have tons of HP, but one of them, being the AWP, and only a flash and a HE to play with here, this is looking dire for the CTs again.
Not ideal. I don't know how big I've turned this one around, and not just in a close fashion, it's a dominant one. A Sin 3K, he's up to 6-1 here on Nuke. And a 5th conceded for the Sinners side. Oscar, rightly so, will get away with the AWP. I don't even know what Sinners want to be doing in this round because, you know, for the likes of V-Stick and Quirts, maybe the money not sufficient enough to go for a full buy with all the extra trimmings, but...
Well, the first time around. So it goes to show the kind of caliber they're beating, but now V-Stick sprays down with the M4, takes down 2 kills. It's a lightning quick round after that tactical timeout. And although it started well for Sinners, now they have managed to get onto the site of Big. That needs to be a thorn that gets removed as quick as possible. Sin is still in the fight, though, pushing through the smoke. They have control of the bomb. Heaven may have been taken by Oscar, but that's only half of the battle here because Crimbo's moved up on top of Hut. And there's a Molotov as well. They're going to be boosting up onto the ledge.
Gotta be careful, Crimbo. Yeah, it's gonna catch Oscar completely by surprise. It's not the frag, which is more or less a necessity for Big, but it is good damage and information. Nade goes up, that does a little bit more. Sin and Crimbo, young guns, but they're gonna have to fight their heart out here in round number 7.
Well, these are the kind of rounds you have to take. You've got to get these. Otherwise, the first half is already out of control. You could argue at 5-1 it already is. The CT side coming up for Big, but these are the rounds you've got to win. Sin now back to the wall, quite literally. 3 different angles. They have devoured him, and they have a kit. There's enough time for this defuse. Sinners finally get some success.
No penny counting needs to be done by the Big side, but it's Sinners that need to keep a watchful eye on their economy because they know one round could ruin them. A good start for Zedco to try and deny that.
Nearly a second as well. HE as a parting gift. Shrapnel in the knees of Zedco, but he manages to sprint away, and Oscar's there to help him out. Much better on the side of Sinners. HE up and over. Lots of damage to Sin. But it's Mantu through the smoke that pierces the kill onto Oscar and skewers him in the process. Shock elsewhere on the map is doing his work, and although the flick from Mantu is good, the HP bar is certainly still in favor of the CT. Sin springs into action though. B-Stick and Shock are against him. He has time, and he also has the bomb. This round may not be over just yet.
This would be a real gut punch for Sinners if they lose out. Sin half health, the HE takes him to 42. And I've just realised Sin doesn't have any armour. $9,000, Vince, and the man does not buy Kevlar. So effectively a glass cannon here in the clutch. Smoke towards main, trying to take some eyes towards the door. To be fair, both players buying it. B-Stick playing from the heavens. It's Shock that's a little closer on the boxes near Hut. And Sin wants to have a wander out. Vent closed, so he wants to get down. It's going to have to be a... Yeah, sure, maybe they find the first, but the follow-up as well. Basically, hand-delivered with a bow tie. Round 14. Quite a slow one, I guess, in terms of pace for Sinners. I'd be using this, Vince, as the old LDLC strategy. I know a lot of the French teams did it back in the day where, you know, pistol rounds, these ecos with 5 blocks. You know, all you're going to have to focus on is your crosshair. So let's use this as a chance to communicate, talk to one another. How are we going to set our T side up? Is there anything we could read into when it comes to that pistol? What was good and what wasn't?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is effectively a throwaway round, right? I mean, they can get any kills. That's nice. They've done a lot of damage. They do have a frag onto Mantu. But yeah, talk about this next rifle round. The crossfire that could be set up on the side of the CTs.
Big know what they're doing. Crimbo, a silent assassin from Secret, waiting maybe for his team to give him a flashbang or an introduction to take a fight. That, though, not ideal from Tabson. Famas against the AK, deleted. Nade into the smoke. Sin can't find anything either. 3v5.
Some good ideas, but the execution just slightly off. I'll give credit as well to Oscar for a very nice entry frag onto Secret. Now, Mantu, try as he may with that AWP, can't find anything on lobby. They've already bypassed all of these positions. They're actually wrapping around the back. Mantu has a good read of the situation, though. He now has his AWP trained over on elbow. Takes down one. May not realize there's more players where Beastic came from. And to make matters worse, they have Shock as well on lobby side. Now, Process, the canary down the mine shaft, has found out that, yes, dangers do lay this way. So Mantu can try and put his AWP to use, but Shock just pierces through his head as well. Huge amounts of impact. And this round, for all intents and purposes, should be over, barring a miracle Crimbo clutch. He does have to position to... When they had Big against the ropes and wobbling, they did not land that KO knockout blow. And now Crimbo, doing so much work with the AWP in the previous round, goes in with the AK, but gets traded out, and there's Quirts. Sinners aren't done just yet. They're going to make sure... Where they started a couple of rounds ago, they're going to pick right back up. Allow no slack to be given. Beastic has the angle. Has the timing, but Mantu no-scopes him to the dome and maintains his AWP for the next round, it would seem, as they're going back to save. And what an important weapon that could end up being. He would have had enough to buy the AWP outright, but this allows him to drop for Sin and to have a really solid purchase into the next. But I'm so impressed with this Sinners team. I honestly thought when they went across the T side, this map was pretty much a done deal. And yet they're still here, they're still fighting, and they hit double digits first. I can't even imagine if you've gone in and made a bet on this game, you must be on the edge of your seat right now. It has been so back and forth, and Crimbo doubles up. Through the smoke, he pivots in for two. Zedco does answer straight back, and Shock in the meanwhile takes down Process. Heard a tip-tap and footsteps. Mantu will allow him no further passage in this round. Back and forth, another nail-biter of a round of 3-on-2 with tons of time, but the timing of Sin could not have been any sweeter as far as the CTs are concerned. It puts Oscar up against it in a 1-on-3. He does have control over the bomb, however, and that's a small luxury in this situation. There is a way forward for him.
Bomb in his pocket, space to plant. And Big have really overcommitted towards everywhere but A. Double stack towards lower. It's going to be an interesting rotate to make, and the vent system is probably the quickest and most effective, but Oscar's AWP also pretty damaging. Tags up, 3 kills to find.
Unfortunate not to get that kill outright. He did connect a shot, but it was onto the side of Sin through the box, so he's down to 39. How Oscar wishes he had an AK right about now. You know he can get it done with the AWP. Timing there. And there is Thompson from above. It was a one. They are on the precipice of victory. And even in that last round, Retro, they had the worst weaponry. Everything was against them, and yet here we stand. MP9s and an AWP, but Mantu's made it work for him. Takes down Shock. The boogeyman from Big for these last 5 or so rounds has now been bested, and maybe there's a chance at OT.
Such a big start, and it's the AWP that gets the impact. Gun dropped. I'm wondering if Big ever want to go chasing for it. In the meantime, the remaining 4 players down secret. Got to be careful because there's minimal utility for this T side. It's going to have to be very contact heavy. Guns up, play your hearts out. 5 between 4 of them. It's a big task, but they've done it before.
Mantu was thinking about dropping into vents. Thought better of that. There were Sharks below him. It was definitely the right call. MP9 sprays through the smoke. The timing of that smoke could not have been sweeter. Just blurs the vision of all of those Sinners. And any of the chance of aggression was pretty much dialed in that moment. It's looking very good on the side of Big. 30 seconds to play with 2 of the 3 players weakened. Those SMGs in prime position to thwart the push, and they have a good idea as to where some of these Ts currently reside. They saw 3 pivot out from Decon. They have control over vents. They know there was no rotation up. Kurt's taking a ton of damage, and now with so little time, there's no reason for Big to overextend. No reason for them to peek too much more. Time itself is going to be their biggest ally. As although there's some bodies hitting the floor, with 5 seconds to go, Oscar does not have the time. It is not. That could be the determining factor. A ton of grenades tossed out, but it's Oscar that claims first blood in OT, and it's onto Process. Up on top of the the catwalk. He's been sent packing, nullified instantly, and Quirtz is making moves through that smoke. He wants to explode out here with flashes. Here comes Quirtz. It's one kill, but Sin holds the line, and he forces back the T's in the process.
I don't know if this is a read from Sinners. They seem to have the idea that as soon as that kill comes in and there's another player backside, that ramp is going to be the weakness. And they couldn't have been closer to the truth. Oscar fires through, but actually a deterrence. They wanted to try and fake it out. Now they're going to head back in towards A, and down the vent they go.
Oh, timing was so sweet, but Crimbo's down here. He has the secondary AWP in play. The flick down is good. Changing his angles. Gets stuck on the controls. And Zedko will give him no reprieve. Man2 can do little but watch on as the rest of his teammates fall all around him. He's had nothing really to do in this round. Has barely spotted a player. But we also know that when it comes to OT, Sinners bested TSM yesterday and made it look easy. They do not give in to this pressure. The easiest of kills for Oscar. Catches Man2 with his back.
One, is it going to be two? Is it going to be more? Opportunities endless. As Big take again towards some interesting outside presence. Two players towards the Ice Cube, a further third in secret. It's a big gamble, and unfortunately a roll of the dice not going to work for the IGL of Big.
And it's that man again, the veteran himself, Oscar, that gets the first kill of the round. Crimbo will answer back. And there's Man2 with a secondary AWP. So quickly spins on its head, and the double player push through on Squeaky yields a 2v4. And Zedko, although he's down on the B side, no control over the bomb, and he's miles away from his teammate. There's no real unity or cohesion available, and Shock deals with Sid, who decided to push through the fire and flames. Zedko gets spotted, but won't be fragged out. That would have been a ridiculous flick, to be fair to Crimbo, if he'd have connected that one. There's still avenues back into this round, but for me, it's more the case I have to go back and pick up the bomb from Shock. And look how separated these two players are on Sinners. They have to congregate together and try and push as a unit to try and win this round.
"20 seconds left for Zedko and Shock to pull off the unthinkable. Problem is, the bomb's in main and another player lobby, so Sinners push disconnected, but a double-pronged attack could work in their favour, especially when there's only one player on site. He's not even in the site itself, it's Man2 from heaven. Cover's going to be provided, Shock's going to punch in the digits, and so we do head to a post plant, and this one, a lot more winnable now as well.
Oh, Man2 didn't peek out. He was just waiting for his teammates, but in doing so, he's given them effectively a freebie of a plant and a chance to get into post-plant positions. Smoke goes up into heaven as well. This could bait them into a false sense of security, though. If you're Sinners, you might assume that someone would peek from heaven should they be there. But that smoke has completely pushed Man2 away. It funnels the CTs in one by one. The process is good enough to stand tall and deliver. Molly down. He has the wallbang angle. The spray comes through, and Zedko takes him down and probably wins the round alongside it. Pushes back out again. There's not enough time. Zedko 1v3. If they get outside control, that is where Shock can be unlocked.
Less than a minute to work with, and Sinners haven't really found much of an advantage. Yes, they've got B presence, so they have to take two outside, and that they do. B-Stick opens up, Tabson gone. 4 players for Big to try and cover up for the next 45.
They're deciding they're going to try and rotate round from ramp side. What a call that is from Big. They've lost Crimbo. They needed to keep him alive. Shock does get caught, but still alive, still kicking on 10 HP. Now Process from range trying to do what he can, but it's kills back and forth, and it's favoring Sinners again. It looks like we're destined for triple O. And possessed, you're right, Man2 has slowed down just a tad, but that's where Crimbo and Tabson have started to step up to the plate. This is where you're looking at those veterans, you're looking at those players with tons of experience that have been here many a time to prevail. B-Stick, massive kill onto Tabson. And although Molly went down to stop Crimbo re-peaking, there is more engagement through main, but they've lost that one as well. Sinners get 2 freebie entries, and it's all at the hands of B-Stick. And a third!
Incredible. That's the start that Sinners were looking for. B-Stick steps up massively. Such a silent entity. An IGL that didn't really find much fragging power and regulation, but now... Where's the point? But I think the argument has continued to be A1S against A4, and with the CS2 changes, you can actually have both equipped at the same time. Of course, at the cost of another rifle shot, trying to prove our point, though. Why use the AUG? Well, it's got a scope, and it's got 3 kills. Lined them up, shut them down, and Big get no progress towards ramp, and Shock's not happy with 3. He makes it a quadra, and it is 20, because that was your chance to set the pace and lock in at least a 4th OT, but now a panic push towards A, and kills going both ways.
Both ways indeed. It's a 2-for-2 trade. Make that a 3-for-2 in favor of Sinners. So many flashes blotting out the sun. No vision for any of those defenders on the A site, but once things have cleared, they'll find that more bodies litter the ground from the T's than their compadres. Tickling the bomb as Process. He has a smoke down on main. Flash is good, but Process with Steel Resolve refuses to bat an eyelid and goes for the plant, but Zedco punishes him. They're going to have no idea that Crimbo's in secret. That benefit of surprise may yield 1 or maybe 2 kills, but he's given his position away now. Understandably capitalizing on the guaranteed frag. The bomb is also planted for him on main. How is the lineup? Molotov, flashes, HEs. They have so much utility still on their collective belts, but someone has to go for that defuse right now. Molly tossed out. Bomb is being defused. Kills, but they're not done just yet. How many saved map points have Big had the strength to muster? It's going to have to be from behind. Oscar's aggression through Squeaky has yielded the opening pick. And Big, do they go for a knee-jerk reaction? So far, quite patient, but Shock again with the AUG showing us just why. He has full confidence in his ability with his weapon. Zedco on the drive-by headshot. It's looking like we could finally come to a close on this nuke.
Mantu and Sin, a combination that's going to need to find 5 between them, but it's looked to be shut down.
Many a time in the past, but Mantu, who was very good on that first map, is going to be the first point of call, the first player to try and stand his ground, and stand he shall, but not for much longer. Knocked over from Zedco, who goes in for 2, but Crimbo's hiding in the smoke with Process. In the meanwhile, though, Shock is trying to put that P250 to use, but they're hemorrhaging players. Shock does land the headshot, and in doing so, gives them a passage onto the site. They still have that bomb as well. They know where both of the CTs are as the time stands, but it's going to be some aggression coming out. This frag means everything, and it goes the way of Shock, who comes off the bomb, tickles it, then helps Oscar back out again. And this dynamic duo, this duo of death and destruction as far as Big are concerned, continues to reap the kills. But Crimbo's trying to put an end to the killing spree, trying to put an end to the rot. Both players have taken a little bit of damage here, but Shock is backed away. He's relocating, he's gone back to the bathrooms, and he manages to survive.
5-second stick for Crimbo. Someone's got to peek. You've got to take the fights. Oh my good God, Shock. Fine for Big. We've still got M4s. And look, we took the force buy in round 2 so we could upgrade our utility into round 4. We're not even 20 seconds into this round. 2 players have got 1 piece of utility each. They do have the man advantage, though, as Mantu, yet again, name a better pairing. Himself and his AWP, there for the opener.
One of the stalwarts on that nuke performance, but Tabsint holding the angle with the AUG. Saying to Shock, look, might be a beast with this weapon, but I can utilize it as well. And from that previous round, by the way, I think the reason they saved is Process dropped the AWP across the Mantu and took the MP9 instead, so it did afford them a better buy. So they managed to really stop the rise and cross their T's. Be careful as possible, but this bonus round for Sin, or Sinners, I should say, hasn't really yielded too much in return. If they can get a 2nd and 3rd kill, maybe it'll get interesting. Nice shot from Mantu again. He isn't showing any signs of slowing down either. And now Oscar, last man standing, good grenade, but they know exactly where he is. And instead of backing off into bathrooms where he knows he's probably being flanked into, he's going to try and take the fight directly to Mantu. Down the barrel of the gun, he drops him down to 4 HP. That would be a big pick. It's all about damage control right now if you're Big. This round is pretty much yours. Make sure you don't lose any more players. Make sure you don't hemorrhage more.
Tucked behind. But that, however, is one hell of an opener from Shock.
Oh, man. If I'm Mantu, I'm so tilted right now. I'm properly tilted at that. Zedco levitating, but Kurtz has been put into the grave. Oh, that's an awkward spray from Zedco and Shock, and they've been punished. After the first pick goes the way of Sinners, you feel the worst for Big, but they've capitalized. And they've bounced back and they've landed that perfect counter punch. Overzealous plays from Sinners gets punished, but there's Oscar. Forever the calm hand with surgical precision, cutting through one of those defenders and giving them an inroad back into this round.
They're going to keep the ball rolling, aren't they? They want to take space. They want to take fights. They want this round. Boost over the top, Oscar. That is a chance and a half to miss. tabseN and Process both detected. Nade. It's going to be pretty well placed. It blocks off the push immediately. That does facilitate the plant. Vince, Big have a wraparound as well, but this is all going to cost time.
Certainly is. How did that grenade do 2 damage? I thought that landed in tabseN's back pocket. It did 2 damage. Just CS nade things. Some things never change, I guess. Oscar in the meanwhile, though, as angles are plenty to look out for. And the turret of the site is allowing B-Stick to just sit in there and take a break while Oscar does all the heavy lifting in this one. Crimbo's up close. Oscar misses his shot. And now B-Stick does need to have impact. Shadow around the corner for tabseN will allow no survivor. Only Crimbo can live to tell the tale. A flirtation on the connector. tabseN, about as graceful as an elephant running down there, would have been heard from a mile off, and Shocker's going to do his due diligence and check those angles. Sees nothing, and a parting gift of HE chips him down to 33. But connector control now has been established. Sin with the MP9 is good for the one. Quertz answers back. They know a play is here. They know he was tagged up, and Quertz goes for the pre-fire. And outside
No utility other than a single flashbang, though. That's the one thing I think that's going to be so prevalent for Sinners. Somewhere, someplace, they are going to have to take contact and they're going to have to win out a trade. The potential is there, but the downfall also massive. Both teams on the brink of financial disruption. Mantu peeks into long. It's an easy pickup. Smoke goes down as well. Now turns his attention to Shock, and Mantu doesn't miss, does he? B-Stick in the smoke, runs right through, and Mantu will have all 3. The third one, no disinterest now towards B. Quertz, Zedko waiting. Flashes aplenty. Sin, he's going to need to pull off a worldie, but Zedko just leaps into his crosshair and leaps into action. Mantu fights one back. And a second as well as the AWP still kicking at Pillar. And it is Mantu's show right now. Nade at the feet of whatever they can scramble together here, Vince. Couple of Galils, few pistols. Nothing special, but Quertz with a whole lot of hope as he finds one and a dink onto Process.
it looked like he was alone, but he did have the flashbang accompanying him for that peak. And nearly doubled up. Process down to 9 HP. Zedko moving in. Molly down, has to use the smoke to keep himself alive. Loses 52 HP in the process. There's a HE up and over, anticipating that he'd fall back. And Zedko holds in position. Now down to a third of his hit points, though. And Big still have plenty of utility on tabseN and Crimbo to hold this one away. It's more the lack of utility on Process and Sin that may be a bit of a concern, though.
Disappointing to see that this is Sinner's best chance in a few, and it's Galils that have overridden this by 40 seconds left. And Crimbo, super aggressed out on long. Very tricky to route out for Sinners because, look, they're going to take all of sight. They're going to smoke off these positions or take these fights and take deep space, but no one's expecting someone to be deep towards long here.
That could be the ace up the sleeve, especially later on in the round. But Crimbo needs the rest of his team to survive a little while so we can actually have impact. Decides against that. He may need to be the shackle-breaking moment, the shackle-breaking player. Gets one, not anticipating the repeat that early. Has not had the impact he was expecting, but still the T's are falling left and right, and it's down to Oscar. One of the few times he's going to be able to at least put that up to use. But he goes for the wide swing, the bomb's not planted for him, and although he gets one, it won't be good enough. Bomb defusal, and Big move to 7. The reasons you just highlighted, it would be a potential 11-5 deficit. Act 10, run and gun comes in, it's Sin that cleans up. Zedko completely off on the spray. And that's looking like the round's dialed in already. Quirtz has also fallen down. A reinvigorated big team out the gates, taking kills left and right. And Sinners are shocked to their core. Beastic can do nothing but hold on to this M4. And considering the situation we were just highlighting there as well, Retro, this already feels like maybe Anubis is on the horizon.
Got to be feeling that way if you're big. And one thing I think I couldn't give enough credit in the world to for this German side is the fact that you've got to understand, losing Nuke like that must have been such a tilter. You know, we even made a joke about it in the break, like, you know, a bit of a longer one, giving time for Big to compose themselves, make sure desks are working, fully functional, you know, all the peripherals are still...
Oscar knows. He knows there's so many players. There's target-rich environment around this corner. He knows, but so does Tabson. He's alert, ever-present. It's a pretty nasty death to lose if you're Sinners this early in the round, and B-Stick maybe short work for Process momentarily. And although headshot was connected, the AK will always prevail in those confrontations. B-Stick's woes continue. 3 kills so far as we move through the 17th round. And although Zedco gets 1, Shock has been put down with authority as well. Quirtz trying to play around the bathrooms. Gets spotted, and Mantu no-scopes him around the corner. 24 kills for the sniper. Just ridiculous scenes from him. And it may have been one step backwards for Big, but they make sure that it's only one step before they charge forward again.
It's a shame because Sinners take a big step forward and it feels like it's 3 steps back. 11 for Big.
We've played 17 rounds of Counter-Strike and not one player is over 10 kills just yet on Sinners. Now that's changed. Shock has just picked up his 10th. But it goes to show that everybody is having a rough game here for Sinners. Oscar, 6 frags. He was one of the main players on both teams you were looking at on Nuke. Tons and tons of impact. 6 kills. That's so unlike Oscar. But they do have the opening pick. They do have a way forward. Big have plenty of time and con control, however, so they have options available to them.
.50 seconds left. Incredibly slow. Sinners know that they can back up and basically treat both sides as choke points. No need to over-aggress. We're not the team that need to go hunting for advantages. We've already earned ours. 35 seconds for Big to pull the pin towards B. 3 players monster, 1 on short. This is it, the do or die.
If they don't flash this though, oh, Shock's timing on going for that peek. He moved just as they came through. That must be so frustrating. And now Zedco has it all to do alone. Using that smoke as sanctuary, falls back into the shield that's been erected from the tees. And now Tabson on 17. Has to dial in 3 more frags. The 20 bomb is looming overhead, but he has 10 seconds to do it. And I think he's already given up on the prospects of clutching this round and just wants to inflict as much damage as possible. Takes the head of Oscar and trades up to the T side and be the aggressor. Will he have the same level of impact? And the answer has been yes. Whether it's been Galil's, whether it's been the AWP or pistols, he's still been getting it done. He's had a lot of help from Tabson though. 18 and 6, one of the reasons you wanted to highlight him in that head-to-head. Look at the golf. Tabson 18, B-Stick 4.
Great shot from Mantu, yet again. It just had to be, didn't it, Vince? B-Stick from Connector, Sins holding it down, but a flashbang from Shock has derailed this hold. Mantu's now going to go looking back down, and it's the Big T side that's caught in disarray. Oscar's just swung at the idea of it, and Oscar, he finds the Polish AWPer, gets traded 3v3, but Tabson's got other plans.
Oh, B-Stick does get a second, though. That's going to keep them in this round. The bomb is also down in Connector. Decides to rush out of the smoke and into the arms of Crimbo. 15 seconds to play with. The time itself may just be too narrow. But they have got the bomb now. They've picked it up. They're darting back to the site. And Shock knows that he has to push. A lot of damage onto a second player. Flash comes out. There's Oscar. Oh, that looked like it should have been a kill onto Tabson. Unfortunate, but B-Stick is there to clean up the rest. 3-play-3, but Crimbo's going to take that equality and throw it away. Now Zedco has to try and reassess the situation. He knows one player's on balloons. He is hungry. He's waiting for that perfect shot. And does connect, capitalizes. AK trade up. Sinner's not done just yet.
Bomb as well, if I'm not mistaken. Sits in the back pocket of Zedco. They know they can protect it. It's now going to have to be the rotation from Crimbo from Connector that takes that first contact. They knew that the fight was in party. This peak important, but doesn't go his way. Zedco hits another, and now, wouldn't it just be poetic? A Man-2 1v2, 12 seconds left, does have the bomb. Chucks the smoke out towards sight, but MP9 from behind. All of long. And that SMG with the kill bonus. Looking fruitful for a first. Got to be careful, because elevation is also something he's going to have to take into account. So, only the one, and the Glock and the Deagle combine for another.
Winnable round. Winnable round for Big. Player advantage. Quartz is being swarmed. And he's been found and killed by Sin. What a catastrophe of a round for Sin is, and it really does just sum up this entire performance on Overpass, where Shock is trying to give them a lifeline. Trying to give them a bit of blood to work with, but the transfusion's been cut short from Crimbo. Zedco, though, picks up the piece.
A little bit of a target to shoot at, just a bit of shoulder being shown, but eventually the fight does come in. And the mid hold is going to have to collapse. Zedco, no way he survives that. Opening kill for Process.
The opening kill, and there's no retaliation either, but Oscar elsewhere has put down Crimbo. So it's going to send some shockwaves and maybe force Big into a bit of an aggressive stance, and that's exactly what they've gone for through on middle. Two players in the shadow fighting off against Process by himself, but he's forced them away by himself. Very impressively done. And in amongst all of that action, of course, the bomb has come down on the other side of the map. So some time is going to be taken now from Sinners to get back underway. And meanwhile, this duel to the death between Quirtz and Process continues. The HP certainly favoring Quirtz here, but up close, the Glock can certainly prevail. Goes down. So much time has been wasted as a result. And with no kits in play, it doesn't feel like Sinners really have a chance, even if they wanted to. They just have to save. They took so long.
Mid-hold was a bit problematic. I think the immediate tag up leave Sinners in.
Early damage, though, is significant. They don't check their angles, and Crimbo's going to get one, nearly a second. Zedco nearly burns alive as well. Survives on two. One more tick of that molly, and he was a goner. But they know that this A site is now weakened. And in will push Process. See if he can get a little bit of success for his teammates. Meanwhile, middle control trying to be established, but it's on the receiving end of B-Sticks M4. Good hold by Sinners thus far.
Great trade from Tabson, but still a 2v3 to recover from. Zedco low, and Quirtz tagged up a tad means you're not going to exactly count yourself out of a situation like this. If Process wins the fight towards A, Vince, it is round on. Problem is, this aggression towards A, but the bomb is left outside B. Tabson wins the fight to Quirtz, and Zedco with his back turned. Process executes him, and it's all on Oscar.
Oh man, Sinners had to get this round. Everything was going in their favor early doors. Oscar is hoping, sitting on B, that they push into him with 40 seconds, that they overthink this. He's getting out aggressive on the T side. He has a quick peek on long. No one's home. So he is going to find his final resting place on this B site and hope and pray for the best. But he comes out.
Jab at success, because right now it's T side that have been outclassing them every stretch of the map so far. And I mean, talk about teamwork. That is exceptional. Nade into the smoke. Man-2 right through it. And the AWP shot straight through the heart of Zedco.
And in doing so, he's broken the spine of the Sinners team because he was the one player that was posting up any threats. Shock now from the side, gets one, does land a dink onto the second player, but there's too many for Oscar to deal with. Too many angles, too many bullets, a barrage of them firing their way onto him. And finally, he will be put down, and in doing so, Big will secure a 6-0 lead. Now, sure, Sinners can pull the plug. They can save these two weapons. They have max round loss bonus. There are options for them. But they're slipping further and further away from this big team, which just seems like a brand new outfit from what we saw on Nuke. Gone are the days of these scrappy rounds they were losing and all the clutches that they lost, these 2v4s and 2v5s. This is more like the Big that we know, this efficient killing machine.
I was going to say, even Overpass didn't start this strong for Big. I mean, the scoreline there was enough to cause concern. This one is more than just Sinners that pile in all of their bodies towards the A site. There's only 2 players on Dark. If Big are smart enough about this, which no doubt about it, tabseN will consider it, B could definitely be an option. And now that they know the A pressures so much, this should be the wraparound to B.
Oh, some laboured sprays, though.
Wow.
It's really a case of every single duel going against Big. So Sinners, down but not out, showing that there's still some threats left, even if they are weakened and vulnerable. Now Mantu has a tall task ahead, as all the pressure has built on Sinners' shoulders. Yes, it's a T-sided map for both of these squads, but it's not been this T-sided. And Crimbo with 1 gets a second. His crosshair could not have been better placed. Shock gets splattered the second he peeks him in. And that should never be happening. It should have been a 1-for-1. Instead, Big have a huge advantage.
tabseN, great shot onto Quertz as well. From bad to worse. On plant goes in. I think that the round was already locked in pre-C4 engagement, but it is just even more to the point now that Sinners have to save their guns. I mentioned how damaging this could be, and only 2 players to find. tabseN gifted a chance like no other as B-Stick bears the corner around B main, thinking he might be able to slip into spawn and get away with his life. Instead, the man is there to take it. And that is Big up to 7. So guaranteed, Vince, no matter what, at a bare minimum, Big, after 8 rounds of play, have guaranteed themselves a lead heading into that second half. And we know how prominent this could get.
And it may be the kind of play that catches them off guard. Process does spot Shock. The flash is good. The follow-up damage even better for Quertz. So tabseN sent packing. That's a huge player to take on. 9 kills already is tabseN once again. And Mantu, though, does come back with his AWP. And shows that it's not just a one-hit wonder. Crimbo nullifies Zedco. That early aggression seemingly like it's running out of steam.
Three against 4. Big know as long as they group up and play a pack mentality that this round will still go their direction. With 40 seconds left, plenty of util to burn as well. I don't see a way Sinners are going to really be able to counter what's ahead of them. Another note to take is if this does go to a post plant and Sinners somehow keep all alive, there's no kits, so it's going to have to be a rushed retake. A good start as it's great damage.
Oh, that was a headshot?
You just clipped him.
Jeez. That was a bit of a fortunate one. I thought Shock was going to live to tell the tale with that flash. And now Quertz around the corner. Crimbo, insta headshot again. This man is so quick on those opening angles. Like, some players need to play aggressively. Some players can sit and play static. And Crimbo's definitely the latter. Rather than
Nuke game, honestly, I'd say the best game I think I've watched this year when it comes to Counter-Strike in Tier 2. At least for me personally. And then, you know, second map is a bit even. Third, looking less so. Quertz, B-Stick, at least combined. 4v3 for Sinners. It's a round that's on the up, but Mantu trying to make it turn for the worst.
That's a good grenade as well, though. It softens up Zedco, but he's not going to be deterred by that. He pushes forward, but he's lost his partner in crime. Shock's gone down. Zedco aggressive through the smoke, but he gets traded. And now it's down to Oscar. He's not had many opportunities, many chances to show what he's capable of. And neither of those players are low, so the HE may do damage, but it doesn't finish off either of them. And with a Molotov also placed alongside it, actually does more harm than good for Oscar. He's going to try and peek behind that, but Crimbo's watching the angle. And we know he's more than capable with this gun. He is their secondary up behind Mantu. Has at times in his career been a primary. Smoke down. Oscar still trying to clamber onto this round. He knows the importance of winning something right here, right now. And although he doesn't have a kit, he's now picked one up. He's going to tickle that bomb. Go for the full defuse. Hope the smoke will keep him alive. But Crimbo's there. Sinners on their T-side pistol. Are getting caught between multiple CTs. The aggression from these Julies is going to rip through 2, but they're getting punished now. This over-exuberance, this over-aggression is being dialed back in as the leash is tugged on. And I'll see B-Stick put it down into a 1-on-3. tabseN remains, but not for much.
Has smartly taken enough money to buy an AWP, so this is just like you know what? If we get any kills, it's damage. Hold on a minute. We're into MP9s. There's a scary hold towards B because a lot of damage started. Quirt's trades, but there's still a round to be had here.
Oh, God. They're doing so much damage as well. Quirts and Shock do bounce back. And it seems like normalcy, like a bit of sanity, has come back onto the server. But Crimbo, against two weakened players, is lurking in the shadows of the smoke, playing on the periphery of the site. Smoke down. Oscar's been spotted. Oscar gets fragged, and the bullets betray B-Stick. Sprayed up through. Look at the economy of Sinners regardless. Getting 3 or 4 kills. Oscar, meanwhile, though, is going to get aggressive, but he pushes straight in to a double stacked up site, and that's Crimbo, who really has come alive in these last couple of maps, dialing in his 14th, 15th, and 16th kills in the last couple. And it's looking grim, it's looking dicey, it's looking over for Sinners.